Ever get that feeling? Like you're just scrolling and scrolling and scrolling through all this tech news and wondering if there's anything out there that's actually worth your time.
Yeah, I know that feeling.
Well, that's why today we're going deep on something specific, the Google Pixel 9 Pro XL.
All right.
We've got this really in-depth review, and what we really want to figure out is if this phone is actually as innovative as everyone's saying, if it really lives up to the whole Pixel hype.
I think that's a good mission for us, yeah.
Yeah.
Are we going to go beyond just like listing specs and stuff?
Exactly. We're going way beyond just the spec sheet. We really want to understand the design, the build quality, how it actually feels in your hand. That Super Actua display everyone keeps talking about, obviously the performance. It's got Google's own Gemini chipset in there, and of course the camera system, because Pickles are known for their cameras.
Right.
And, all the essentials, the battery life, the software, how it all connects. And really, at the end of the day, is it worth the price? What's the value proposition here?
Sounds good. I'm ready to dive in.
All right, so the review jumps right into the design, the first thing you see, and they're really highlighting this Hazel finish.
Hazel, huh?
Hazel, not exactly your run-of-the-mill color for a phone, right?
It's definitely not your typical black or silver. And, I was reading how the review actually frames it.
Yeah.
They're saying it's not just a different shade, it's a deliberate aesthetic choice. It seems like Google is trying to give this phone a unique look, some personality.
I see, trying to stand out a bit.
Exactly. And it's funny because it made me think of all the different colors phones used to come in.
Oh, yeah, like back in the day, the old Nokia phones, all the different colors.
Yeah, exactly. Those were fun. But anyway, back to the Pixel. It's not just about looking different. The review really emphasizes the premium feel of the materials they've used. They say it feels light, but also really well built.
It's always a balancing act, isn't it? Making something feel substantial but not bulky.
Yeah, it's a tough one. But if you think about it, we carry these things around all day, so the ergonomics are really important. The review mentions that too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they talk about the curved edges, the weight distribution. They make it sound like they've really considered how comfortable it is to hold and use for a long time. A phone could look amazing, but if it's uncomfortable to use, what's the point?
Totally agree. And there's one more thing about the design that caught my eye. The review points out that the Pixel 9 Pro XL is unlocked.
Oh, right, yeah.
That might seem like a small detail, but it actually gives you a lot of flexibility. If you travel internationally and use different SIM cards, or if you just want the freedom to switch carriers whenever you like, being unlocked is a huge advantage.
It's true. It basically gives you more control, which is always a good thing.
All right, so the Pixel 9 Pro XL looks good, it feels good in your hand, but let's talk about that big, beautiful screen. The 6.8-inch Super Actua display.
That's what everyone is talking about.
Right, and this review goes all out. They call it a star feature, a visual treat.
That's setting some high expectations.
Yeah, no kidding. But from what they describe, it sounds like it could live up to the hype. They really focus on the actual experience of looking at this display. They talk about the crisp details, the vibrant colors. When you're looking at photos or watching videos, those are the things that really make it immersive.
It's like you want a display that doesn't just show you the image, you want it to make the image come alive.
Exactly. And it's not just about being bright and colorful. They talk about advanced technology that delivers a wide, dynamic range and true-to-life colors.
Dynamic range.
Yeah, think of it like this. Imagine you're looking at a scene with really bright sunlight and also really deep shadows.
Okay, yeah, I get that.
A display with good dynamic range will show you detail in both the bright parts and the dark parts. It won't just blow out the highlights or make the shadows completely black. You'll actually see detail everywhere.
Oh, that makes sense.
And when you combine that with the high resolution they mentioned, you get a really clear, crisp image. They say the level of detail is amazing, whether you're reading text or looking at graphics. It just makes everything look sharp.
And easier on the eyes, I bet.
Absolutely. Plus, it's got that edge-to-edge design, which isn't just about aesthetics. They point out that it really maximizes the screen real estate, so you get more immersive videos and a more spacious feeling when you're using apps or multitasking.
Yeah, so it's not just big, it's actually functional too.
Exactly. Form and function. All right, let's move on to what's powering all of this. The review keeps mentioning the Gemini chipset.
Ah, yeah, that's Google's own silicon, right?
Yeah.
Like Apple's chips in the iPhone.
Exactly. Google's making its own chips now, which gives them more control over how the hardware and the software work together. And the review really emphasizes that this Gemini chip, along with the generous RAM they've included, makes the phone super smooth. They say it handles multitasking, gaming, demanding apps, all without breaking a sweat.
So that's when you open like 20 apps at once and it doesn't slow down?
Yeah, pretty much. The key words they use are fluid and responsive. You don't want a phone that lags or stutters when you're trying to do things.
I hate that.
Right. They specifically mention that everything feels snappy, from launching apps to just navigating through
Yeah, it
menus.
makes a difference, doesn't it?
Yeah,
When a phone just responds instantly, it feels so much more satisfying to use.
totally. And there's another interesting thing they point out about the Gemini chip. It's apparently optimized for machine learning and AI tasks.
Oh, so like for things like facial recognition and all that.
Exactly. And they mentioned that this leads to faster photo processing, more accurate voice recognition, things like that. It's not just about raw processing power, it's also about making the phone smarter and more efficient.
I like that. It's like work smarter, not harder.
Exactly. And the review says that in their everyday use, the phone felt really fast and efficient, even when they had a bunch of apps running in the background. And we've all experienced that, right? When your phone starts to chug because you have too much going on.
Ugh, it's the worst.
So it sounds like the Pixel 9 Pro XL can handle it.
Hopefully.
All right, now let's get to the feature that everyone wants to hear about, the camera. Pixel phones are known for their cameras, and this review suggests that the 9 Pro XL is no exception. They call it an innovative triple rear camera system.
I saw that. They didn't hold back on the praise.
Nope. And it makes sense. Google has really carved out a niche for itself with mobile photography. They've got that reputation for quality.
Yeah, definitely.
And this new phone's camera system looks impressive. It's got the main sensor, of course, plus an ultra-wide lens so you can capture more of the scene, and a telephoto lens for zooming in.
So pretty much everything you need.
Right. You've got all your bases covered. But what's really interesting is that the review makes it clear that it's not just about the hardware, it's the software, Google's advanced image processing software that really elevates the photos, especially in difficult lighting conditions. They talk about computational photography.
Is that like all the AI stuff we were talking about earlier?
It's a part of it, yeah. Computational photography basically uses algorithms to analyze and enhance the images your camera captures. It can sharpen things up, balance out the exposure, make the colors look more natural, boost the contrast. And it does all this behind the scenes, so you don't have to be a photography expert to get great results.
So the phone's doing a lot of the heavy lifting for you.
Pretty much. And from what they describe in the review, it sounds like it really works. They talk about landscapes that have this incredible depth, portraits that capture all these subtle details, and even low-light shots that are clear and don't have a ton of noise.
Impressive. Those are usually the areas where phone cameras struggle the most.
And it's not just photos. The review also praises the video recording, saying the footage is smooth and the stabilization is great. So if you want to shoot steady video without a tripod, it sounds like this phone can handle it.
It's all starting to sound pretty amazing.
All right, let's move on to something that's just as important as the camera, the battery life. This is a make or break feature for a lot of people, and the review makes a bold claim: 24-hour battery life.
Whoa, that's a lot.
Right. In the real world, do you think that's actually possible?
Well, according to the review, it seems like they were able to get pretty close. They say that the battery is designed to last all day, even with heavy use, whether you're gaming, streaming videos, or just constantly on social media.
And they say it's a compelling and essential feature, so they clearly know how important battery life is to people.
Totally. And what's even more impressive is that they actually tested it. They said the phone consistently lived up to that promise of long-lasting performance, even with heavy use.
It sounds like Google's not just throwing out marketing hype here.
And that's key, because a big battery is one thing, but if the phone isn't power efficient, it's not going to last. That's so true. And if you think about it, that long battery life is even more important now that so many people are using their phones for work, for travel, for everything. Not having to worry about constantly hunting for a charger is huge.
Agreed. All right, let's talk about the software experience. The review says the Pixel 9 Pro XL runs the latest version of Android, and it's got that clean, intuitive interface that people like about Pixel phones.
I've always liked how Google keeps it pretty simple and straightforward.
Right. And the review highlights that there's no bloatware, none of those pre-installed apps that you never use and can't get rid of.
Yes, I hate that.
And it sounds like Google is really committed to providing that pure Android experience with a focus on a user-friendly design. No unnecessary clutter.
Less is more, right?
Right.
Especially with a phone.
Exactly. And they also emphasize the importance of software updates. Google is known for providing regular updates for Pixel phones.
Which is great for security, right?
Yeah, and also for getting new features and optimizations. It helps keep your phone running smoothly for longer.
That's so important. You don't want a phone that becomes obsolete after a year or two.
All right, almost done. Let's touch on connectivity and any other interesting features the review mentions. They say it's got excellent connectivity with support for 5G networks, of course, plus reliable Wi-Fi and Bluetooth. Pretty standard for a high-end phone these days.
Yeah, you'd expect that.
Right. But it's still good to know that those essential features work as advertised. Oh, and they also mention the in-display fingerprint sensor. They say it's quick and accurate.
Ah, so it doesn't take forever to unlock.
Exactly. And for those of us who use our phones for things other than just making calls and scrolling, the review says the stereo speakers deliver a really immersive sound experience. They say it's great for watching videos and listening to music.
The little things make a difference, don't they? A good set of speakers can really make a phone more enjoyable to use.
All right, so we've covered a lot. The design, the display, the performance, the camera, the battery life, the software, even the speakers. Now, the big question, is it worth the money?
That's $1 million question, right?
Yeah. And the review acknowledges that the Pixel 9 Pro XL is definitely not cheap. It's a high-end phone. It's priced accordingly. But they make a pretty good argument that it's worth the investment, especially for people who value those key features we talked about. The photography, the performance, the battery life, the display.
I can see that. If those are your priorities, it sounds like this phone delivers.
And they really emphasize that it's the combination of the top-of-the-line hardware and Google's highly optimized software that makes it special. It's not just about the individual parts, it's about how they work together to create a seamless premium experience.
Like a well-oiled machine.
Exactly. Oh, and they mentioned that it comes with 512 GB of storage, which is a lot. Especially if you shoot a lot of photos and videos, you won't have to worry about running out of space anytime soon.
Very convenient.
So it sounds like Google is really positioning the Pixel 9 Pro XL as more than just a phone. The review calls it a versatile tool, something that can adapt to your needs throughout the day, whether you're working, playing, or just staying connected. It's like a central hub for your digital life.
It's interesting how phones have become so much more than just phones, isn't it?
Totally. All right, let's wrap this up. Based on everything we've discussed from the review, this Pixel 9 Pro XL, especially in that unique Hazel finish, sounds like a serious contender. It's a well-rounded, high-end phone that seems to tick a lot of boxes.
I agree. The review really highlights the design, that gorgeous Super Actua display, the performance of the Gemini chipset, that incredible camera, the all-day battery life, the clean and user-friendly software. It's a lot to like.
So the big takeaway here is that while it's definitely a premium device with a premium price, it sounds like you're getting a lot for your money. If you're looking for the best Android experience out there, the Pixel 9 Pro XL is worth considering.
And that brings us to the big question for you, the listener. What's the most important thing you look for in a smartphone? Because at the end of the day, all these bells and whistles are great, but it's about finding the phone that best fits your needs and your lifestyle.
Mm-hmm.
So what's your priority?